Good morning, Waterloo Region District School Board. We are here today with some Googlers. We have one Googler right here on screen. We have more backstage, but before we get to any of the Googlers, we have someone here from your school board. We have Hebron is here, Mr. G. How are you doing today, Mr. G?
I am doing fantastic. I'm so glad I get to be here with you awesome people and get to stream into your wonderful classrooms. So I'm pretty excited.
Wonderful. We're so excited to have you here, and we're going to get you to kick things off. I know you have a land acknowledgement for us. Let's kick it off.
Awesome. So before I start, I do want to say a big thank you. I want to go back to a big thank you to Cobblestone, to Google Canada, to all the Googlers that are very busy, as you can imagine, coding up the world to take time out to hang out with us. It's pretty awesome. So we are super lucky to have this opportunity. So with that, I want to keep that in mind. Those of you kids who are listening right now, if you get an opportunity to send a big thank you or send a little card through your teacher or something like that, Googlers always appreciate that. With that in mind, okay, we're going to get started with our land acknowledgement. Sometimes when I am doing a land acknowledgement, I want to take time to actually hear from the voices of our Indigenous people. And there's a lot of wonderful voices, wonderful stories, wonderful wisdom and knowledge that we get to partake in. And this series, Voices from Here, on Geographic Canada is a really great one. And I want to take a moment. We're going to listen to Mr. Richard Hill share about the bowl with one spoon.
So the idea was that this beautiful earth was given to us. It's like a dish. And inside that dish are everything that is there for us to be healthy and to be fed. All the plants, the animals, the birds. And the concept was we're all going to share from the dish with the same spoon. Everybody gets their equal share. Everybody gets an opportunity to take that. So it's about sharing the resources of this land. But in order to share it, there's some simple rules. One is you only take what you need right now, feed yourself, make yourself well. You always leave something in the dish for other people so they can enjoy that as well. And you keep the dish clean. You don't pollute your kitchen. You don't pollute where the food comes from. Only recently, in the last few years, the Anishinaabe people and the Haudenosaunee people said, let's get back to this sharing. Let's get back to this idea. So we're working very hard to recover. What is our notion of the great dish, the dish with one spoon? Why is it important that we share? It's got to do with hunting, fishing, and gathering, but it's also got to do with a healthy frame of mind. That maybe inside that dish, what nature provides is healthier for us than what the supermarkets provide. Maybe what's inside this dish will help us be stronger Indigenous people. So that's why we're trying to explore that. Maybe the dish will even help us recover from colonization and residential school trauma.
Thank you. Actually, I don't know if you noticed, but Richard Hill is standing on the banks of the Grand River. So it's a very local landmark. I don't know what you call that landmark, and a natural whatever. Anyway, with that in mind, I want to start by acknowledging that the land on which we gather today is the land traditionally used by the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Chinootan people. We also acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditional knowledge, laws, and philosophies of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today.
Wow, Hebron, what a great way to start that off. It's just so great in the visuals and the bowl and the spoon. So I love that. I love that we kick things off with that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all you've done to put this together and your team at Waterloo Region. I know you're going to be watching us backstage, so we can't wait to hear what you think. But we'll see you again in a little bit.
Awesome. Have fun.
All right, students. Okie dokie. We have a few little housekeeping items. We are coming to you live via YouTube, which is awesome. Teachers, if you need to pause at any point, if we're going a bit too quick, you need to get students back on track, you go ahead and just pause. You can rewind, and then this recording is going to be available. You can replay it at any point. The one thing, so you guys can see us, we can't see you. However, we have a way where we can hear from you. And hopefully my screen is going to change and you'll be able to see that magic. Here it is. There's a form, a Google form. Students, we're going to put you to work here. Jump into a brand new tab on that device in front of you. Type in the link that you see on the page, the cc.page/CS first. Type that into a browser tab. That's going to bring up a Google form where we want to hear from you. You let us know what's your first name and let us know what grade you're in. And we have Dwayne and Aiden already found the form. Luke found the form. Hello, Luciana and Parker, who found the form. Jackson is here, says this is cool. I agree, Jackson. Lily is here. Joey's already here. Aiden, Kush, Jackson, Connor. Wow, now we have a whole bunch of you letting us know what grade you're in. The rest of you, maybe you'll get a shout out. Tell us what's your first name, what grade are you in? And while we're waiting for that, we're going to turn it over to our first Googler. Sandy Curry is here. Hi, Sandy.
Good morning, Michelle and Hebron. Thank you for that lovely land acknowledgement. Takes me back to my roots, seeing the banks of the Grand River as well. So it was a lovely way for us to get started. So good morning, everyone. Good morning, WRDSB educators and teachers. So my name is Sandy Curry, and I am the STEM Program Manager for Google Canada. But before Google Canada, I was a principal and a teacher with WRDSB for 30 years. So you may know me as Sandy Dawson, but it's so great to be back with everybody here this morning. And that form, Michelle, is on fire. We have Grayson, McKenna, Emily, Ali, Romy, Anisha, I'm not sure if I said that right, Julia, Charlie, lots of folks joining us this morning. So what are we going to do? We're going to have you meet a few more Googlers who are going to talk to you about computer science and a little bit about Google, but most importantly, we're going to get to coding. And so we're going to have 3 Googlers coding with you, 4 actually. We're going to have one at a very beginner level. So for any of you who had never done any kind of block-based coding or coding, we're going to take you step, hand over hand, and show you how to get started. We're going to have another Googler who's going to kind of take it a notch up, and we're going to have one that's going to blow it out of the park. So for some of you who have done a little bit of block-based before, you'll get to see a little bit more of the potential, the capacity of Scratch for CS first. So we have Ashlyn, Lily, Kayla, Angie. We have Mrs. Howell's class. We have Noah, Manham, Marshall, Olivia, Logan Parker. We have lots of students joining us from WRDSB this morning. And so teachers, have no fear. At the end of the session, you're going to get an email. And that email will have a teacher's guide in it so that you can set up your own CS First class. We'll have some office hours tomorrow night if you have any questions. So that on Thursday, we can pop back in with you. I think the Googlers aren't going to join us on Thursday, but we can actually help you get launched with your CS First module, music and sound together in your very own CS First class. So Michelle, let's start bringing out those Googlers and start saying hello to them. So we have Laura, who's going to give us a wave. We have Seth joining us. We have Justin joining us, and we have Toogler Bob. So we have this fun play on the term of Googler. So if you work at Google, we call you a Googler. But for Bob, oh, I think we have one. There we go. For Bob, for Laura, for Seth, and for Justin, they're all volunteering their time to teach you. So we call them Tooglers. And so with that, I think Justin is just learning today how to be a Toogler. So you're learning how to do coding, and Justin's learning how to do being a Toogler. So he and I are going to head backstage, back at the broadcast studio. We're going to let you get coding, but then we're going to pop back out a little bit later and see what's going on. So hopefully that sounds fun. We have Vanessa, Sebastian, Dylan, Ali, Kingston, Lila, Sola, Alexandra, Lenka. I can't say them all, Michelle. There's so many fun students joining us this morning. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Toogler Bob. Justin and I are going to head backstage. So happy coding, everyone.
I'm going to head backstage too, but I'll be out here and there, so we'll see you in a bit.
All right. Thank you, Michelle and Sandy. And so my name's Bob. First up, before I get going, I just saw in the forum someone named Max said it's his first day in school in Canada. So wow, welcome, Max. That is awesome. It's cool that we get to do this with you on your first day here. Big welcome. So anyway, yeah, my name's Bob. I grew up in Sault Ste. Marie in Northern Ontario. I went to school for a long time. The main part of my studies were at the University of Waterloo, here where I live now. Went to grad school, but I also studied at Carleton and UBC and Queens and University of Manitoba before ending up at Google. I started at Google Maps in California, and I worked there for 4 years. Then after that, I moved back to the Canadian office here in Waterloo to start working on Stadia, which is Google's cloud gaming platform. Some of you might have had a chance to try it. And now exciting, just this year, I started working on a team called Kaggle, which is a platform for learning about and using machine learning and data science. And yeah, over to Laura.
Hey everyone, my name is Laura. I'm also a software developer here at Google Canada. So I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba. I just moved to Waterloo in the fall. I interned at Google throughout university, so I got to live in Pittsburgh and California in the States, and then I just joined Google full-time in June 2021. I work on Firebase, which is a mobile app development platform, and my hobbies, I just love being outside, doing yoga, and watching or playing basically any sport. I'm super, super pumped to be here with everyone.
And hi, everybody. I'm Seth. I actually grew up in Florida, believe it or not, so got to see gators and everything. I loved computer engineering and math. Worked with hardware for a while, actually making chips before I joined Google. And now I make people who write code get their jobs done faster by helping them build their code very fast. Thankfully, we won't have to deal with that today. I also enjoy doing lots of fun stuff with my kids. I love Minecraft and math puzzles and doing all that sorts of stuff. So that's it for me. However, I want to actually ask you some questions here. Put your thumbs up and look around you as you do this. Have you ever sent a message to a friend or received a message? A lot of people have probably done these kinds of things, but not everyone. We have different shared experiences here with technology, right? Have you ever played a video game? Watched someone and play a video game. Hopefully you got to play the video game. It's usually more fun. So yeah, thumbs up if you bought something online. That one might be less common. Or have you received something that was bought online? Did your parents maybe buy you something you wanted? All right. So yeah, hopefully you saw a lot of people around you using technology all the time. And we as Googlers use technology all the time too. This is a very normal thing to do. But you'll inevitably or often come up to a situation where no one has made what you want to use. Maybe they didn't make a game that you really want to play. Maybe they didn't make an app that you would really think is a neat idea. And that's when you change from becoming a consumer of technology to a creator. We want to help you experience a little bit of what that means today. If you've never seen an idea before in the world, maybe you get to start it. Maybe you get to make it. And one of the ways we do that is coding. So with that, let's move forward. I'll pass it off to Bob.
Thanks, Seth. All right. So in the form, I would love it if you could give me a guess of how many Googlers there are in the world that are developing these products. So you need to think about Gmail and YouTube, ads, all like calendar, all these different tools you use, Maps, Stadia, Kaggle, which maybe you've never heard of. Like, how many people are there around the world that are building all of these tools? I'm seeing some guesses. I see 10 million from Nathan. Andrew says 1. That's a bit low. We have 3 here. So there's definitely at least, plus Sandy, that's at least 4. I see 1 trillion from Addie. JD gives 12,001. That's oddly specific. Very good. Gloria guesses 100,000. And so Gloria, I think, is our winner. There are actually over 100,000 people now at Google around the world building all of these products. I mentioned some of these products that I think you're familiar with. Here are some products that Google is also built or working on. that maybe you don't know about. And so I thought it'd be cool to tell you about some of these cool things that are out there. So in the form, if you have a guess about one or any of these things that I'm showing here on the screen, let me know what you think those are. And wow, we have a great group. I just got to say, like, I'm looking at the answers and I'm scrolling like a mad person because these answers are pouring in really fast. I see Joey says self-driving car. Right on, Joey. First guess. So yeah, the thing on the left, that's it's part of Alphabet, which is Google's parent company. But this is a group called Waymo, which is developing self-driving cars. And a cool fun fact about that thing is that the first person who didn't work at Google that rode in that car was a blind person. And so it was one of these like mind-blowing applications that, you know, we didn't think about when we're developing these things, but really, you know, it's a tool that can really help improve someone's life by helping him get where he needs to go. Let's see, then I have Kirsten says chicken nugget. I don't know, it's a good guess, but that's not quite there. I see Ellis, I see Cole says contacts. So yes, that's right. The thing in the middle is a contact. This is a very special kind of contact that was developed by Verily. And we actually have a Verily person today that's shadowing us. So if you have more questions about that, or you just want to say hi, you can say hi to him. But this is a contact lens that was developed by Verily that can measure the blood sugar level through the contact lens in your eye. A mind-blowing piece of technology that can help people who suffer from diabetes. And I'm seeing Alicia says plane, Tabita says airplane, Sarah says airplane that you can fly on. So these are all good things. Ryan says drone spider. So it's close. Yeah. So this is it's a drone. It's an unmanned aerial vehicle that they use for delivery. And this is a group called Wing at Google that's developing this. And yeah, it can deliver products to people when they need them. So I'm going to hand it back over to Laura to take us into coding.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to give a quick overview briefly about kind of what the process is going to look like today before we give you the link to jump in. But don't worry, you will be coding very soon. Okay, so good, Michelle? Okay.
Now we see your screen. There you go.
Perfect. Okay, so this is the website that you're going to get landed to once we give you the link. But basically, our kind of task and goal for the day is to animate a name using Scratch for CS first. So this is the landing page for the animate a name. There's a fun little video, and then there's also all these different effects that you can do to your name that you can kind of click on and read about and learn a bit more. But today what we're going to be doing is on the right here, it says link starter project. So we're going to go to this starter project. And then today we're going to continue without signing in because we can continue without signing in and still be able to save our work. So I'm going to click continue without signing in. And then I believe Michelle is going to give us the link now. You guys can all meet up with me.
Awesome. Absolutely. Just like Laura said, we are going to give you the magic link. There it is on the screen. I'm even going to put a little banner over top of Bob. Sorry, Bob. There's the link. You are going to go to g.co/csverse/name. Just like Laura showed you, you'll see a whole bunch of cool videos if you want to watch those. Those that are brand new, you can just follow along with Laura. But once you get this link typed into a new tab, let us know in the form if you're ready to go. And then Laura's going to show you some awesomeness. I think Bob and Seth, you guys are going to be doing some coding behind the scenes too, hey? I hear, Bob, you're going to kind of take it easy, maybe intermediate level. Seth, am I hearing right? You're going to knock it out of the park with some awesome coding?
Oh, I hope so, but we never know what's going to happen.
Oh, I'm excited. All right. Well, Laura, how are we doing? Are we have students ready to go here yet?
I think we are. Yep. We have Annalise is ready. Olivia's ready. Malik's ready. McKenna is ready, excited. So I think we are good to get started. So
we are. Just 1 second. Laura, I'm noticing Carlo. Carlo says the site cannot be reached. Carlo, just make sure you're typing in that link properly. If you're still having troubles out there, you let us know in that form, but g.co/csfirst/name. Hopefully that's going to work, but you let us know in the form if there are any troubles. It looks like, wow, Rowan, Sebastian, Callum, Melissa, Olivia, Dominic, so many students are ready. Laura, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to let you take it away. We'll go back to your screen, Laura. And
okay, awesome. So yeah, so like Michelle said, if you have used Scratch for CS First, feel free to kind of just hop right into it. I'm going to be going through kind of a tutorial for if you've never used Scratch for CS First. So basically, the first thing that you'll see, I guess I'll point out, is over here in the right. You should be able to see my mouse here. So we're going to call this like your world. And so this is basically anything that we're going to animate. It's going to live in this world. So I'm going to spell my name. So my name is Laura. I think I'm just going to do 3 letters just to make it easier. So I'm just going to do LOR instead. So let's see if I can just delete this. Oh yeah, so I'm going to click here just to delete this letter that it comes with. And then I'm going to go to the bottom where it says choose a sprite. So those letters that I showed, or they can also be characters you'll see, they're called sprites. So I'm going to click choose a sprite. So you can see there's tons of different things, and they're all alphabetized. So I'm going to go up here where it says letters, or you can also search for letters. It'll do the same thing. And then I'm going to choose a letter. So there's lots of different options. I think I'm going to go with this blue L. So now this L lives in my world, and you can see that I only have one right now, but you can see, so this in the top right, it has the L kind of faded in this main section. And so that means that right now I'm working on this L. It's kind of like the workspace for my L. So, or I guess you call it a sandbox. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to try to make this letter move. So kind of the place I always start is this motion category. So this is basically going to allow me to move this sprite. So I'm going to do move 10 steps. And I'm just going to zoom in a bit so you can all make sure everyone can see this well. So I have moved 10 steps, and it's like attached to my sprite because I'm in the sandbox for the L. So I'm going to click on it. Okay, it moved. Didn't really do a whole bunch, but it does move. But I'm kind of thinking I want it more to bounce up and down instead. And so my letter has X and Y coordinates, which can be seen in my world here. So right now it's at, it's kind of hard to see, but it's at negative 154X and 10Y. So that's just where my, it's kind of sitting here. So I'm going to get rid of this move 10. I don't want it anymore. And I'm going to do change Y by. And so when I click that, what it's going to do is going to take my current Y position and it's going to move it up 10. So I click on that and look at that. It moved it up. But now I want it to bounce. So if it's going to go up by 10, then I think I want it to go down by 10, right? Because I go up and down, up and down. So I'm going to do change Y by 10. And I'm going to put in a minus 10 here. So then what I'm expecting to happen, right, is I'm going to click on that. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. So I'm going to click. But nothing happened. Kind of weird, okay? So
interesting, Laura. Before you go in and figure out, well, what's going wrong here, we have Cheyenne who can't get into Scratch. Cheyenne, if you are having troubles, let us know in the form, but maybe, hopefully, it's just that you're typing that link in wrong. Same thing goes. Anyone else, if you're having troubles, let us know. And teachers, feel free to pause at this point if you're having troubles getting students in. And those of you, if you're looking at what Laura's doing, find those same blocks that Laura's got. She's going to make that sprite bounce up and down. If you feel this is a bit too easy for you, you go ahead and try whatever blocks you like, just like Seth and Bob are doing. All right, with that, keep going, Laura.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Michelle. Okay, so I have it going up, I have it going down, and the reason nothing's happening, if you figured it out yourself maybe, is that it's happening so fast that we can't see it. So that's what's kind of cool about computers, is that they work crazy, crazy fast compared to how fast our brains work. And so this is moving up and moving down before we even have the chance to see it. So I'm going to add what is probably one of my favorite ones in Scratch is a wait block. So basically what it means is I'm going to change y by 10, then I'm going to wait a second, and then I'm going to change y by minus 10. So when I click on this, there we go. You saw it went up, kind of waited, and then it went back down. So that's exactly what I want. And so now I want it to happen multiple times, right? I don't want it to just bounce once. I want to bounce multiple times. Yeah, Michelle? Oh, you're muted, I think.
We always know when I pop in, it must mean there's something not quite right out there. That's the nature of technology, isn't it? So Laura, just hold tight. We do have a couple of students who are saying, it's a little bit fast. Students, have no fear. Laura is going to go back. She's going to show you how to get another tab. Just watch what she's doing for now. But we also have Miss Ward's class. The whole class is only on the dashboard with the video. Can't get to what you're showing. So Laura, I'm wondering if they maybe missed how to get to the starter project.
Sure.
We just go back just again, students. If that was a bit too fast to start with, just know once you get to this page, there's that magic starter project link. That's what Laura clicked on. And then once we got there, continue without signing in. Ta-da! And now you're right where Laura is. So hopefully that's all you guys needed over there. Again, love that you guys are posting in the form that you're having troubles. I think we're ready to go back to that, Laura, and let's just see, how can we make that bounce more than once?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. And yes, I do apologize for anyone. It's not you. I have a tendency to talk very fast. So I'll try to work on that as well. Okay, so like I said, right now I have it going up, waiting a second, then going back down. So I want this to keep going. So there's kind of two options I can take for this loop. So the first one is a repeat, and then it has a number. So if I do this, and let's say I change this to 5, now when I click on this, my letter is going to bounce up and down 5 times. But you see it's kind of a little finicky almost. And it kind of just like, it's not a uniform bounce. And so the reason for that is similar to what the issue we were facing before, is because I have change by 10, wait, go minus 10, but I don't have another wait. So when it's going from this change by minus 10 all the way back to this change by 10 in my loop, then there's no wait, and it's the same issue we were having before. So it's an easy fix, same issue or same fix as before. I'm just going to pop a little wait 1 second in there. So now once I click this, it should go up, wait, down, wait, and then repeat that 5 times. So there we go. So that's kind of more what I was looking for. It's a nice uniform, up and down. So that's perfect. Before we move on to my next letter, I'm going to change it just to wait 0.3 seconds, just because it'll bounce a little faster. And then I'm going to up this till 10. Oops, to 10, let's say. And then the last thing that I'm going to add, oops, there we go. So yeah, it's bouncing a little faster now. So the last thing that I'm going to add to this letter is one piece that's pretty cool. So you may notice when you click on your block, it's highlighting this green flag. And so this green flag basically represents like start. And so in the events tab on the left, there's a when green flag clicked. And so when I put this on the top of my code, now when I click, I'm just going to this up, there we go. So now when I click this green flag, it's going to prompt that code I just wrote. And the nice thing with this green flag is that all the sprites share the same green flag. So when I'm going to animate my next letter, and then I put all the animations under when green flag clicked, when I click the green flag, it's going to activate both of those. So I'm pretty content with my L, so I'm going to leave this. So I'm going to spell L-O-R for lore, just because that's easier. So now I'm going to go back here. I'm going to do choose a sprite. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to go back to letters.
Laura, I'm going to jump in again just because we have 2 students, Harveen and I'm not sure who else, but they were wondering, how do you find those letters? So that might have been a bit quick. So students, if you're wondering, how do you find the letters?
Perfect.
Look back at the screen. Laura's going to show you.
Perfect. So to find a letter, you're going to go. So remember, this is kind of our world on the right here. This is our sandbox for a letter. So to get a new letter, we're going to go down here. And so you'll see this little kind of looks like a dog or cat or something, and it says choose a sprite. And then I'm going to go to this magnifying glass, which means like choose a sprite by search kind of. So then I click on that. And then here you'll see tons of different sprites. So you can use Scratch with like not just animating your name. You can make a little motion picture. You can kind of do whatever. We'll see what Bob and Seth do. Maybe they'll do something with some of these sprites. But what I'm looking for is the letters. So I can just go up here, click letters, or you can also search. And then here's all the letters that you could want. And I believe there's 3 different styles. So you can choose whether you want these orange ones, blue ones, or green ones. So I'm going to pick an orange. I think I already picked a O. So I'm going to pick an R. So yeah, just to confirm, it's down here. Choose a sprite, your magnifying glass, and then you can pick any letter you want. Okay, awesome. So Lawrence asked, we have to put your full name. Definitely not if your name is long. Like my name's only 5 letters and I shortened it to 3. So whatever you want, whatever will be easiest for you to do during this time. Okay, so now I'm going to animate my O. So I already have, I'm going to click my green flag, and I already have my L bouncing up and down. Maybe another motion that I can do is growing in size. And so just notice now I clicked on my O in the bottom right here. So now this sandbox here is for my O. So it's completely blank. But if I go back to my L, my code is still here for my L. So each sprite has their own code. But like I said, this green flag kind of unifies them together and allows you to run them all at once. So what I'm going to do for my O is I'm going to go to this looks category. And so the looks category has a couple of different interesting things. So you can say something, you can say hello, maybe you'll use that later. For another letter, you can switch the costume, but I want change size by. So I'm going to do change size by 10. So if I click on this, you notice my O just got a little bigger. And I keep clicking on it, and it's going to keep getting just a little bigger. Okay, cool. So I'm going to add another change size by, right? So I keep clicking, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And I'm going to do, let's do -50. So I'm going to click on it. And this might seem similar to the very first situation we got ourselves into. So once you might be anticipating this result, it kind of just got smaller. I didn't get to see it get bigger and then get smaller. And it's the exact same issue we were running into before when we had change Y by 10, change Y by -10. We don't have a wait block. So it's all happening so fast that we can't even see it happening. Okay, so easy enough. I'll just go to control on the left. And you'll notice on the left here, it might be hard to see on my screen, but you should be able to see on yours, there's a bunch of different categories. So I've been using different categories for different things. There's also a sound category, which I'm probably not going to get into, but just be aware that it's there. There's some cool things you can use. So they're all kind of categorized by what they do. So anyways, so I'm going to use the control block. And so I'm going to say, wait 1 second, kind of pop it right in there. So I'm going to do wait 1 second. Sweet. So it got bigger and then it got way smaller. So these numbers are a little off. So if I keep going with +10, -50, it's going to start getting really small, really fast. So I'm just going to do change size by +50 and then change it by -50. And then at any time, if your letters kind of get in a weird state because you've played around with them, you can go back to these controls here that I was talking about earlier. I know it's a little hard to see, but you should be able to see it on your own screen. And you should be able to kind of increase the size or anything. So right now my O is at size 60. So I'm just going to type in 100 here just to set it back to a size that I like. And so now when I click this, it makes it bigger, waits a second, and then makes it smaller. And so I'm going to do similarly to what I did last time. I like this getting bigger than getting smaller. So I'm going to add a loop. So last time I used this repeat and then number loop. So it repeats that many times. This time I'm going to do repeat forever. And so basically what this means, and I'm just going to do a forewarning. I'm about to run into the same issue that I ran into before where I had code, wait, code, but then since I looped it, it went right back to code, right? So if I do this right now, bigger, and then it kind of does that weird jump. And it's because there's no wait. Oh, you can't, I'm not sure why it's not. Okay, it's showing on my screen. For some reason, it's not on the stream, but it is getting bigger and smaller. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a weight under the change size by -50. And then this should get bigger, smaller. There we go. And so you can kind of see it moves at a uniform pace now. And so I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm happy with my O just kind of going. And so if I don't touch this, this will go forever. And so that's what this nice red stop is for. So I click the red stop and the O stops. So I'm going to make the O, I'm just going to put it back to 100. And then before I move on to the R, I'm just going to add the same thing that I added on my L, which is this when green flag clicked. So now when I click on the green flag, my L should hop up and down, and that'll hop up and down 10 times. And then my O should get bigger and smaller, and that'll repeat forever. So it'll be until I tell it to stop. So let's see. So there we go. So the L's hopping up and down, and the O is just getting bigger and smaller. The L is going to stop eventually. There we go. But the O will just keep going, and it's never going to stop.
All right, Laura, you have 3 minutes to code that last letter. But you know what that means, students? You guys have only 3 more minutes. We know you probably won't finish. We could code forever, but we want to see what Bob and Seth have done too. So in 3 minutes, we will do some show and tell.
Awesome. Okay, so yes, we have 3 minutes left. So I'm just going to briefly animate my R. I'm going to show you, I was talking about the looks earlier. So my R can say something. So it can say hello. So I click on it. Now my R says hello. But that hello is going to stay there forever. So then I'm going to do what I was doing before, which is wait 1 second. And then we go back to looks. And then I'm going to say something else. So I'm going to say goodbye. So when I click on this, say hello, wait 1 second, and then say goodbye. I'm just going to briefly show you guys backgrounds since we're a bit running out of time. So right next to that choose a sprite, to the right of it, there's a choose a backdrop. And so I'm going to do the same thing, click the magnifying glass. And now there's tons of different backgrounds. So you can choose whatever makes you happy. Pick one that you enjoy. So I'm going to pick this jungle one because that looks pretty fun. Cool. So now my letters are in the jungle. And so I'm going to wrap this one like I did before with the green flag. And that's it. So my R is just going to say hello. It's going to wait, and then it's going to say goodbye. So let's see what happens. Okay, so you see all these things happening at the same time. So the L is jumping up and down. It'll do that 10 times. The O is getting bigger, then smaller. And then the R right at the beginning said hello, waited a second, and then said goodbye. And then just very briefly, I'm going to show you this next costume one. And so basically what this one does, and I'm going to throw it in a loop. And sorry if this is a little fast, but I'm going to do forever. So it's going to loop on forever. You're going to change costume, and we're all going to see what this means. And then we're going to wait 1 second. And so basically it's going to say hello, goodbye, and then it's going to switch costumes, which is switching colors every second. So we're going to click this again. So it says hello, goodbye, and then the R should be changing. But it's not. Interesting. Okay. I might be out of time here, but so we're going to wait. Stop that. Okay, so we're going to try to figure out why this wouldn't work. Let's get rid of our block and just say next costume. So let's run this one. So it's going to say hello, say goodbye. Here clicking, and we're back. So this will be a mystery.
I wonder, Laura, did you make it so you had to debug on purpose? Is that something as a coder that's just natural, isn't it? Right?
Yes. And this is definitely something that we do in coding all the time, all day. Is you find something, you think it's going to work the way you expect it to, and then once you actually come to it, it's not working, and you have to go and dive a little deeper into what's wrong.
And what I love as well is you've got students helping you out in the form. I think it's Nirja that says, well, that R doesn't actually have any other costumes. Some of the letters have costumes, some don't. So awesome job, those students out there who are able to help Laura do debugging. Hopefully you didn't have too much debugging to do out there, students. We are out of time. Oh, George also noticed that there was no other costumes. Great job, you guys. All right. Well, we are going to see what these Googlers have coded. But before we do, you know what, Laura, while you're there on your screen, students, if you want to save your work, now's your chance. Pay attention to the screen so we can show you how to save. Laura, just up there in that file menu, can you click on that for us?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make it a bit bigger. Yeah.
Nice.
So file menu.
File menu, save to your computer. And that's going to save a Scratch file locally for you. So if you're on a Chromebook, put that up into your Google Drive, and then you'll have it later because we're going to be back on Thursday, and you'll be able to bring that back into your Scratch for CS First. So file menu, save to your computer. All right. Before we see what Seth and Bob have done, students, let us know in the form, what did you code? Let's go first. Oh, you know what? I know Sandy probably wants to see this. So we're going to bring Sandy back. Oh, and Toogler Justin. Justin's the one from Verily who made those cool contact lenses. I don't know, Justin, if you made those contact lenses. But I know Justin was doing a little bit of coding in the background. So let's see what our Tooglers coded. Let's start with you, Bob. There's your screen.
All right, thank you. So yeah, what I wanted to show is kind of an intermediate level trick is the idea of nested loops. And so Laura showed you a couple of different loops, and she had one that ran 10 times and she had one that ran forever. And so what I did was I put one inside the other, which lets you do really powerful things. And so I was thinking about chickens. We had a little bit of a meme thing going in the forum because the one person said chicken nugget, and I see lots of our boys and girls are excited about chicken and chicken nuggets. So I made a chicken, and the chicken, what I wanted him to do was to walk forward, then he's going to eat something, then he's going to walk back to where he started, and then just loops forever. And so I can run that to give you an idea of what I mean. So he walks to the right, has a little snack, then he walks back to the left again, and then it just keeps going forever. And so to make this work for him, the chicken, I guess it's a her, to be able to walk to the right and back. So that's the inner loop. So if you see here, this repeat 10, that's the chicken walking to the right. I didn't want this to get too big, and so I used a named block. I hope not stealing some of Seth's thunder, but this named block I made that you can see here called eat, that just calls this thing over to the right where I said define eat. And so this is the whole eating part, which is just like Laura was showing the idea of switching costumes. So the chicken has changing costumes where his head goes down and up. And so that's the whole eating part. And then I switch costumes so that the chicken's facing the other way, and then repeat 10, the chicken walks back to the left again. And so this is just the idea of putting one loop inside another lets you have different things repeat over and over and over again. So that's my intermediate project.
Nice job. Intermediate, I don't know. That looked pretty advanced to me, but still, that's so awesome. All right, Seth, we've got your screen here. What do you got for us, Seth?
All righty. Yeah, I decided to also use a bit of a nested inner loop, but I did not use a name block. So I think maybe that was more advanced. However, I'll show you what I've done. Basically, as you animate, each of the letters will swirl at different times and turn into an animal or tree. Sorry, I said letters. They turn into animals or trees. Basically, an S for shark, a T for tree, H for horse. These are all things from the letters of my name. However, I did also add one Easter egg. If you hover over the E, you will see the backdrop change and a sound play. And you can actually put them in space if you so wish. So that is my project.
That's pretty advanced.
I think that's so great. And we got some sounds in there. Hey, Justin, I don't think you've coded in Scratch for CS First before. Were you able to do something? Do you have anything you'd like to show us?
Yeah, sure. Let me try.
Awesome. Now, while you're loading that, Justin, do you do computer programming for your day job though, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Whoa, but just never done Scratch for CS first. Well, this is going to be interesting. Here you go, Justin. Show us what you got.
I've got some letters spinning.
But that's fabulous. Very first time you've ever used Scratch for CS first. You kind of went out rogue and did your own thing. So fun. Well, we have some students who've told us what they coded. Students, we also have a chance to ask these Googlers any questions. So while I want to just say a few more shout outs and hopefully we'll get some questions in. But I know, Michael, so you made a game where you could move around and not get hit by other sprites. Very cool. Manya did a math quiz. Imagine coding in math, Manya. We're going to tell you more about that. Oh, Allie, you saved it, but it didn't work. That file might be just saved on your computer. We have to bring it back into Scratch later. We'll talk more about that on Thursday. Wow, this is great. I think there are questions coming in. Before we get to that, Bob, I think you have kind of a celebration certificate for all of our students.
Yes, indeed. So you all today produced programs, you wrote code, you worked in Scratch, and it sounds like in the form you did a lot of amazing things. And so, yeah, this is a certificate that you've all earned because you are creators today. So, yeah, congratulations. Thanks for being awesome coders.
Awesome. And teachers, as you dive more into CS first, you're going to find all sorts of certificates and printables that you'll be able to give to your class. But great job as code creators, all of you students. Well, with that, Seth, do we have any questions that have come in from these students?
I have seen a few of interesting questions. So let's start. Grayson and Vincent and a few others have also wanted to know. So I'm going to pass this off to you, Laura. What language do you code in?
Yeah, so I code in 95% Java. I'm on a server team, but within Google, I've also coded in C++ and TypeScript Angular as well. Kind of depends on the different work I'm doing. So when I was doing some more front-end stuff, I was using TypeScript. But now that I work on mostly back-end server development, I code in Java. And it's definitely my favorite language. But I don't know. They all have their own little things you can enjoy.
Excellent. We have a question here from about why you became a Toogler. So I'm going to pass this off to Bob. This is being asked by, I just want to make sure, Dennis. Dennis wants to know why you became a Toogler.
That's a great question, Dennis. So personally, I love teaching. I wanted to be a teacher at university, and I taught English in Japan. And once I came to Google, my job, as you've heard, we're writing code, we're building things. But I did miss this connection that I could have to reach out and engage with people and share my skills. And so, Toogler Sandy, deserves a lot of credit. She built up this program, and she's invited all of us, like people across Canada working at Google, to be able to do these programs where we get to work with people like you. And so I was very excited about the opportunity, and I was really, I jumped at it. So thanks, Sandy.
Amazing. And Justin, I'm going to send this next one your way. Olivia wants to know, how long does it normally take to code?
That's a great question. It can take anywhere from like 5 minutes to 5 months, depending on the scope of your project. I think, yeah, it's it's also hard to predict, because some things that sound easy, turn out to be really challenging, and some things that sound hard can turn out to be easy.
Absolutely. I think that's a shared experience with all people who program, and I'm sure you students got a little bit of that today. Laura, I'm going to pass this one off to you. Sophie's asking a question about whether you enjoy coding for Google, and if so, why?
That's a great question. I definitely do. I did internships, and I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of them, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give it another try. And since starting full time, I've just absolutely loved it. I've learned a lot more about what being a good programmer means, about problem solving, about teamwork, and it's really shown me that like kind of the cool world that software engineering is. So if you try it and you start it, you're not a huge fan of it, like obviously it's not for everyone, but don't be afraid to give it another try. But yeah, why I like it so much, I would say the problem solving aspect of it is like my favorite, just being able to get a problem and kind of have all these different tools that I've learned over kind of the years of how to solve these problems and get to collaborate with other people. It's a really cool environment and experience. And I also love to be able to work with people who have like 20 years of industry experience, and I just graduated university last year, and it's pretty cool that we can be peers. Yeah.
Absolutely. Kendra mentioned you were very good at programming, so a shout out to you from that. I'm going to pass this off to Bob next. Will is asking, what's the hardest code you've ever worked on?
Wow, that's a good question. That's a hard question. So kind of like Justin was alluding to, sometimes there are things that seem like they'll be easy, but they turn out to be hard. So my first project on Stadia, when I joined that team, so they call it like a starter project or a noodler project. Like it's usually they pick something that should take maybe 2 weeks to a month, and it just helps you learn about how the people on that team develop code and what the code looks like on the inside. And that project ended up taking me 4 years, and at the end of it, I was leading a team of 5 other people working on that thing. So it was one where we got it quite wrong, but it was super fun. I mean, the thing in the end ended up working. It was kind of a magical piece of technology. It got picked up in the news, and we got a patent for it. And so it was a very, very challenging but rewarding thing to work on.
Excellent. If I can ask one last one here about Elias is asking, I'm going to send this to you, Justin. How do you come up with ideas? How do you get an idea to do something new?
That's a very, I think that's a deep question, is how do we come up with ideas? How do we be creative? I think a lot of it is, for me, synthesizing or putting together things I've seen before. Sort of like, I think some of the most creative things we can do is think of disparate things and bring them together. I wish I had more specifics there, but another way is, if you're ever using something and you're frustrated with how it works, just trying to think about ways it could be better, and just imagining that is a great start.
Absolutely. And hopefully, Michelle, I did hear correctly. If you were switching to this slide, you wanted to take over, but I can keep asking questions all day.
I wish I could keep asking questions all day, but I think we'll turn it over to Sandy to start wrapping things up.
I think that's our biggest piece of we get 2 pieces of feedback, right? We want more time to code, and we want more time to ask questions and have them answered by our Googlers. So WRDSB educators and students, I hope that you'll join me in a virtual round of applause for Justin and Seth and Bob and Laura. They're software developers. They're in the Waterloo office or maybe working from home. But like Bob said, I've encouraged them to come out and get out in front of you. So they're volunteering their time. So I really appreciate them connecting in with you. And students, I hope that you can see, like, even animating your name isn't something you just do once and you're done. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And we've been doing this for quite a long time now, and I've never seen anybody, not Bob or Seth or Laura or Justin or anybody, ever animate their name the same way as anybody else. So the possibilities are endless. And there are 100 hours of block-based coding in CS First. So we hope that you'll be able to dig in and do that. And so with that, students, I hope not only you learned a little bit about coding, but also about that grit, about that resilience, about that collaboration, the communication, all of the other fun parts that come with working as a team. And so with that, students, I don't think that you have any homework tonight. Michelle, I think it's the teachers that have just a little bit, right? I don't think it'll be too hard, but we have a little bit of homework for the teachers. So with that, Tooglers, again, thank you very much for joining us. Michelle? I'm going to pass it over to you.
But Sandy, before we do, I think we still have enough time to just hear one last thing from our Tooglers. I think they always have such amazing words of wisdom. So I can get through my stuff a little bit quick today because I want to hear from these Tooglers. So
Michelle, I totally forgot this part. I don't know. I got so excited about giving the teachers homework that I forgot about the final words. So you are right, Michelle, and thank you for reminding me. So Seth, can I draw on you first? If you were going to give our students a final word, what would it be?
I think it'd just be that, remember, no matter which, if you're using an app and all your friends are using an app or some program, remember that started as like one or several people's idea, just a few people that were like, you know what, wouldn't it be cool if? And so just think about that. Like Bob was saying, Toogler Bob, if you see something and it's not working, or sorry, Toogler Justin was saying that, my bad. Just go for it. Just try something, see what you come up with.
I love that, Seth, right? What is the problem that we're trying to solve, and how can we have fun in trying to solve it? Perfect. Justin, I know that you're shadowing. It's your first time being a Toogler with us. What would you tell our students and our educators today?
I think to go along with what Seth said, don't be afraid to make mistakes. When you're working with a good group of people, no one will be mad at you for making mistakes. There's no judgment. People will just use that as a chance to learn and keep trying. So
yeah,
I think that's key.
Well, Justin, thank you for joining us. And I love that. I used to say when I was a teacher, failure leads to success. And I just did this, like, own it and just let it take you to that success that's to follow. So I love that. Laura, what would be your word for our students today?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me that I've learned is just always keeping an open mind, and like everything you learn, you try something, you don't like it, maybe it's not for you, but never be afraid to try it again. And know you guys are young, got less time, but it's never too late. I didn't start coding until I was 18. So you guys are way ahead of me. And I'm 23 working at Google now. So you got lots of time. Keep an open mind, try everything and see what sticks. Thank you.
Perfect. And Laura, thanks for mentioning that age discrepancy, which is one of the reasons that we really like to expose our young learners, to what coding is like for you in the classroom. So never give up. Perfect. And last but not least, Toogler Bob.
Hey. So yeah, I think I'd like just kind of building on what Sandy's saying. I know probably you hear about growth mindset a lot. I think that is really something that's good to internalize, or just keeping a positive attitude about things. Like here today in the Scratch activity, I had a good time, and I was trying different things and it was fun. And I mean, yeah, I've been building products at Google scale for 8 years. I've billions of people have used products that I've built, but I still can enjoy doing this kind of thing, right? It's finding the challenges in the thing you're doing and have fun with it. So.
Love it. I've always said, educators in particular, I wish I'd met some of the Googlers while I was still in education, because I love this, like, woohoo, there's a problem. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to fix it, rather than, oh, there's a problem. So I think there's really something that we can take away from that. So Laura and Seth and Bob and Justin, again, thank you very much. And I think now, Michelle, is when we're going to pass it over to you, and we're going to give the teachers just a little weeny bit of homework. So
little teeny bit of homework for our teachers. Before we give that homework, though, students, you guys have been fabulous. I know we weren't able to call out all of your names, but there's so many questions coming in, and you're telling us what you coded. But Tanisha, Savine, Dilraj, Nathaniel, Farah, Lily, Ryder, Malik, Ayush, Sophia, Matthias, and everyone else. Thank you guys so much for just engaging with us. It's really cool. It's almost like we can see you. All right, teachers, here's your homework. Right after this session, you will receive an email with information on how you can keep coding for up to 100 more hours. We're going to be back on Thursday, and by us, the Cobblestone Collective and Sandy are going to be back on Thursday to help you get logged into CS First, where you're going to be able to see all of your students' work right there in your dashboard. So in your email, you're going to get that setup guide. By Thursday, you need to have your CS First class all set up and your students ready to go. Also in that email, you're going to get a couple of documents that show you how coding fits in math, language arts, drama, music. What? Students, you could be coding in all of your classes? Teachers are going to get information on how they can do that. Teachers, you are also going to get a student guide. So this is a slides file you're going to be able to copy for each of your students. We've bottled up a couple of our Cobblestone consultants inside there to keep teaching the students. So teachers, you don't have to be the expert anymore. Our consultants got you covered. We're going to keep going and do some coding all together and learning together. If you're still having trouble getting that class set up, though, we have office hours tomorrow night. Actually, we have tomorrow at 7 p.m. We've even added a 4 p.m. office hours session. All of that info is coming to your email inbox. And with that, just a little bit of homework. I'm going to turn it back to Sandy.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Michelle. WRDSB students, Tooglers, I hope that everyone has a great day. I hope that you stay well. We're really looking forward to connecting in with you again, teachers and students, on Thursday. So happy coding, everyone.